5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yes, this has been 1962-63, a wonderful year not only for Aiken but for the whole nation. This was the year Vaughn Meader released his sensational album, The First Family. The Academy Award-winning song for 1962 was Henry Mancini's Days of Wine and Roses. At the start of this record, you heard the last 5 seconds of the countdown, which sent our 6th astronaut, Gordon Cooper, into 22 orbits around the Earth. As for Aiken this year, well, that's our story.
Ralph, please call the office.
On September 4th, the school was officially opened as Mr. Rudolph gave the opening address in the front circle.
It is with pleasure that I welcome you to the new Aiken High School and declare it officially open.
Shortly after the opening day ceremonies, even though the school was still young, there was noticeable evidence of the spirit and the pride in tradition that it would soon develop. There was the first big pep assembly in the gym when the band made its first appearance.
On the last day of September, the students and faculty were proud to open the doors of their new school to the public. Student guides were stationed throughout the buildings to guide and direct the confused and exhausted parents.
On October 6, 1962, the Student Council sponsored the first big dance.
We just wanted to welcome all you kids to Aiken, and we hope you have a real swell time at our first dance. You might like to know that our band tonight is Ephesians 7.
3 weeks later, the Pep Club sponsored the first record hop. It was called the Halloween Howl and featured the first of our 2 guest DJs, Dick Wagner.
First of all, I'd like to welcome you all to the dance.
Hooray for him!
And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Dick Wagner, our favorite disc jockey. So let's hear a big hand for him.
Okay. All right, here you are, Dick. Go ahead, Wagner. Go ahead. Say something. Oh, that's me. That's right. All right, let's get the thing going.
We had a request for what kind of food we're on. It's sort of slow, so let's make it a lady's choice dance, okay?
Suspense and excitement were built up at the junior class elections in the auditorium on October 23rd. Presidential candidates were Tim Donahue, Dan Goebel, Jim Nathan, Chuck Rutledge, and John Stadtmiller.
At 2:55, the school awaited the results. Miss Handel, advisor to the junior class, announced the winners.
Class treasurer, Mike Berry. Corresponding secretary, Sandy Thobald. Recording secretary, Shirley Craig. The vice president of the junior class is Jim Nathan. President of the junior class, Chuck Rutledge.
The school year was off to a tremendous start. At the first PFA meeting, Mr. Rudolph made these comments about the success of the school.
If any of you attended the dance the other night, I think you would agree with me that the social conduct of your boys and girls was completely wonderful. Of course, when we say dance, I looked at this and said, is this dancing?
This is an Aiken Sound Album sports highlight.
This was the football season, with thrilling action on the field.
Zacharias sweeps around right end, faking a pass. He does pass. Straight down the field in the arms of Cunningham. Over the goal line he goes, touchdown.
Aiken came within one game of a public high school reserve title, and by dropping a game to Taft, lost the reserve award.
Early in December, in the newly completed auditorium, the drama club presented its first play, Harvey.
If I do, they say, that's Myrtle May Simmons. Her Uncle Bill would be down, biggest screwball in town. Now would be down at Pat. You promise.
Oh, make yourself comfortable, Harvey. I have to answer the telephone. And Ethel, I can see you're disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares like that at everybody.
Is Harvey with him?
What do you think to ask? How can I tell? How can anybody tell but Uncle Elwood?
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied, but he's a man, isn't he?
Well, I guess so. His name's Mister.
Your attitude may be old-fashioned, Doctor, but I like it. Well, I like you too, Doctor, and Miss Kelly here. I like her too. That's my name, Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards.
Is there something I can do for you?
What do you have in mind?
Oh, you see.
Poor mother. Oh, was he a young man?
Myrtle May, perhaps you'd better leave the room.
Now I should say not. Go on, Mother. What?
You're not only a nice looker, but kid, you got something else too.
What?
You got the screwiest uncle that ever stuck his puss inside of in that house.
That is not my mother.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that.
He said Harvey just walked in the door. He told me to look in the bathtub. It must be a stranger.
What you suggest is impossible.
What's that?
Suggest I button up my lip and give you some straight answers. Can't do that.
Okay, fool around with him. And the doctor is probably someplace bleeding to death in a ditch.
Those are his plans for the evening. He didn't tell me. Kept right on joining him.
Will you skip all the fighting?
Good. There's nobody here but people.
I wonder if I'd be able to remember any more of that poem.
Say, you know,
Where have you been? Been looking all over for you.
The student council officers for this year were Ken Parchman, treasurer, Mickey Webb, Nancy Reamer, secretaries, Jim Martin, vice president, Rick Baziot, president.
On December 21st, the last school day before the Christmas vacation, the music departments presented a special Christmas program featuring, among others, our fabulous faculty trio.
On the same day in the gym, the basketball team and the students warmed up for their first public high school league game with Hughes.
Unlike the first two assemblies we've had today, this one will, we don't want you to contain your noise. We do want you to yell, but at the right times.
You know, the best thing about this cheer, all for Aiken, stand up and cheer, while the fellow next to you stand up and cheer, and you can get in there and kind of get your seat.
This is an Aiken Sound Album sports highlight.
It was now the basketball season, and after our first PHSL win over Hughes, we couldn't seem to outscore our opponents. The major starting players included Becker, Baziot, Higgins, Parchman, Fissler, Jellison, Cunningham, Goebel, Grease, and Lawson. The action on the floor might have gone somewhat like this.
Tommy Becker brings the ball up the floor against a full-court press. He passes off to Goebel over in the corner. Danny, driving hard along the baseline, jumps, shoots, it's good.
The Future Teachers of America sponsored a formal dance on February 9th. Music was provided by the Satin Tones. Ralph calling office.
The Cincinnati Highway Patrol sent out a film for all sophomores designed to encourage traffic safety. Those who saw the film were glad that it came after lunch, way after.
At many of the home basketball games before the national anthem, Mr. Thornberry, the PA announcer, picked up the mic and said,
And at this time, we present our Aiken Majorettes. Their captain is Shirley Craig, and they include Jerry Smith, Diane Wingard, Jenny Britton, and Carol Mastrom.
At this time, we would also like to salute our cheerleaders, Nancy Alt, Elena Fuentes, Nancy Reamer, Donna Toby, Sandy Thawbald, and Captain Lynn Coulter.
On February 23rd, the Pep Club sponsored a basketball queen dance, the Queen of the Court.
Well, I guess without wasting too much more time, I'll announce that it might snow tonight. The winner is Sandy Riedel.
The National Management Association presented a special program for juniors on democracy in America and communism in Russia.
It's the duty and responsibility of each and every citizen to become better informed. This responsibility weighs twice as heavy on your shoulders because from your generation will come the future leaders of America.
Our purpose is to do two things: First, to review and to clarify our understanding of our own government based upon freedom and our free enterprise system, and to give you some ideas and facts on how to explain these things to others. You don't know how lucky you are. Think about that for a minute. Do we know how lucky we are to be Americans?
On Friday, March 8th, the GAA sponsored the second record hop. This time, our guest disc jockey was Bob Braun.
To announce Mr. Aiken for 1963, along with his lovely date. Ken Parchman is doing the
First here at Aiken was the golf clinic sponsored by Mr. Tinnis and featuring 2 golf pros from the local clubs.
Another of our first year at Aiken memories was the professional 9-hole golf course set up in the lower football field for our crash golf program.
For a first-year high school, Aiken was becoming well known. On March 20th, 1963, the Aiken chapter of High Y held a citywide banquet.
Becoming a man, playing a man's role in today's society is quite a process. And so it's a real pleasure for the schools to cooperate with the YMCA and with the High Y and with the fathers in this.
It's my pleasure to present to you Mr. Fred Smith.
He gave me a verse of scripture. He said, Fred, take that verse and build your life on it. Proverbs 18:16. Take the gift that God has given you and use it, and you'll stand before great men. Successful people say, I will. Unsuccessful say, I should, I ought to, but they never get around to saying, I will. I hope tonight somebody says, I will.
In order to raise money for the junior prom, the junior class sponsored a mystery hop with a student DJ and several mystery guests.
One of the less well-known events of the school year was the ping pong tournament run by Mr. Thornberry in the gym after school on the 28th of March.
One event which should become an annual occasion was the spring concert sponsored by the music department.
This is an Aiken Sound Album Sports Highlight. This was the season for our spring sports, baseball, track, and tennis. Our congratulations to the participants in these activities.
In the next few minutes, the fire alarm will be tested. Please disregard any sounds that you may hear. This is not a real alarm. It is only a test.
This is part 2 of the Aiken Sound Album, a brief history of Aiken's first year, 1962-63, in sound.
We are now nearing the production of Little Abner, and the school swung into a new mood. The Sadie Hawkins Day race helped to publicize the show.
The Sadie Hawkins dance was sponsored by the Student Council and featured the Torquays.
It was 8 p.m. Thursday, April 25th. Curtain time for the first production of Little Abner. The big question in everybody's mind was, will it be a hit or will it be a flop? By 10:37 the same night, there was no doubt in anybody's mind. Little Abner was a complete hit.
We fought the Yankees and annihilation was near. Who was it that charged that took us safe to the rear? Why, it was Jubilation T. Cornpone. Oh, stood your own Cornpone. Jubilation T. Cornpone, the man who knew no fear. When we almost had 'em, but the issue still was in doubt. Who suggested the retreat that turned it into a rout? Why, it was T-Rex, old Tattered Cornpone. Jubilation T. Cornpone, he of announcing that after a full governmental survey of all the no count, no good, and unnecessary places in the whole USA, you have been chosen as most unnecessary of all. Superfine Jones. What did it do? Why, she could stop any high school on the 1 yard line except Aiken. Who couldn't? Has clamped top secrecy on extensive medical tests of the Abner-Yocum drug. To establish its effectiveness, 6 patriotic citizens from Dogpatch have volunteered as human guinea pigs. Mr. Yocum, is it true that the ownership of the tree, and consequently the drug, is completely and solely yours? Yes, sir, Mr. President, Your Majesty. Love and respect. Mr. Yocum, you make me proud of my country. Make it free, Mr. President. Stop down, you idiot! Confidential secretary?
Yeah, you can read all about me in confidential. You know, I kind of trust.
What's more, clean your teeth and leave your breath alone. Joe got good manners, ain't it? Yocum, say the word, and we'll go into production. We'll bottle it. Name it after you. We'll call it Coca-Cola. The country's in the very best of hands. The best of hands. The best of hands. Them bones, gonna rise again, gonna exercise friends. Jazz again, gonna tax us up to our head. When they get up on their thigh bones. The country's in the very best of hands.
Sorry, Daisy.
What happened?
I put on Free versus Speed and danced outside. Oh, I don't know, Daisy. But I know this much. I'm going to get in that race this afternoon and do my darndest to get it. Because if anybody deserves it, you do.
But that was only Act One. After a short 15-minute intermission, after all, how could a 15-minute intermission be long? We return to Act Two of Lil Abner.
Oh, happy day, honey, collective rain. No individuality remains. Would be a race of busy bees and happy honeycombs. With basic couples, mechanical guests, getting guests themselves service from.
Dr. Hensdale, I don't think stupid charge for just recycling. What is a mass representative isotopic double dimethyl cornerstone? Not a Stanhill to wine or I was royal too.
Progress is the root of all evil. Progress is the cause of it all. Bring back the good old days. Genuine ironclad permanent lead. 5,000 invested. I've thrown that with you, man, and wait. Little Amber, does you take Daisy May for your wife? I know. And Daisy, is she was reading?
I reckon I always was.
So now for my blessing, I've thrown that with you.
One of the big things Aiken was finding out was that there was a good group of students in Cincinnati's newest high school. Aiken students won awards in city and state competition in fields of science, music, art, and others. We would like to congratulate Aiken's award-winning students, all helping to put Aiken on the high school map.
The many people involved in our athletic program this year were honored at the Athletic Awards banquet. Wayne Embry was the guest speaker.
Gee, he says, you must be a dentist, and the MC says, no, I'm a funeral director.
I come to one conclusion. His athletes ought to be in good shape from running up and down these hills. The students of Aiken Senior High School could probably become mountain climbers one of these days. And I wish the boys participating in sports best of luck in the years to come. Thank you.
One of the most popular groups in the school was the drill team. This group performed at most of the home basketball games. The last game that they marched at this year was the game between the faculty and the Pepsi All-Stars. Our congratulations to this fine group of girls.
On May 17th and 19th, Aiken Senior High School was formally dedicated. For purposes of this record, we have put both dedications together and will bring you the highlights of both.
We are here today to dedicate a school named in the honor of three distinguished citizens of Cincinnati.
Now to you, Rich Beziot, President of Aiken High School Student Council, I present these portraits of Charles, Walter, and Louis Aiken.
Aiken Senior High School came in fourth in the most popular high school contest recently held here in Cincinnati. As our award, Dick Wagner returned with a gigantic WSAI record hop.
Due to the tight schedule of the last weeks of school, the student council election campaigns had to be given over our public address system. Final results were President Jim Martin, Vice President Steve Darby, Secretary Jerry Smith, and Treasurer Pete Halverson.
Now the end was fast approaching. The end of this school year, that is. And since there were no seniors this year, most of our students will return again in the fall.
Yes, this was 1963, a wonderful year all around. However, we sincerely believe that we may look forward to bigger and better things in 1963-64. The spirit and pride in Aiken established this year will last for a long, long time.
This has been the Aiken Sound Album for 1963, a listening adventure we hope you'll remember for a long time. We would like to thank our two guest disc jockeys, Bob Braun and Dick Wagner, who have helped us with the narration of this record. And most of all, we would like to thank you, the entire cast of students, teachers, and parents who have helped make 1963 a wonderful year.